Hello learners, welcome to the video lesson 26, Ustad Bismillah Khan of secondary level English. Learners, let's come to the grammar portion of this lesson. Number 1, affirmative and negative statements in simple past tense. An affirmative statement states that something is true or valid. In an affirmative statement, the verb follows the subject. For example, the first example, Vikram plays. The verb plays follows the subject Vikram. Number 2, boys play. The verb play follows the subject boys. To make a negative statement, we normally use do not or does not with all verbs except be and where modals are used. When the verb is be or modals are being used, the not over there is used to make the sentence negative. Examples. Number 1, affirmative. You speak German. Negative of this statement. You do not speak German. Number 2, affirmative. She likes chocolates. Negative of this statement. She does not like chocolates. Number 3, affirmative. Aman is a singer. In this sentence, learners, the verb is. The verb is. And the negative of this statement is Aman is not a singer. Number 4, affirmative. I can drive. Negative of this statement, I cannot drive. Can is a modal. Learners, you need to know more about modals and see the lesson, The Parrot Who Would Not Talk. Do the exercise on your own. You have to change the sentences into their negative form. In the next exercise, you have to change the sentences into their affirmative form. Number 2, there is prepositions. Prepositions are usually put before nouns or pronouns. A preposition shows in what relation the person or thing stands in regard to something else. Some commonly used prepositions are for, in, into, at, on, of, by, to, of, with, over, from, through, above, behind, near, beside, under, below, beyond, between, among, till, until, since, before, after, during. The sentences given over here, which I'll tell you, are from the text you have just read. And listen to me carefully. You may read also. The words which are underlined are prepositions. Number 1, Bismillah Khan was born on March 21st, 1916, on. Number 2, Bismillah Khan's father was a Shehnai player in the court of Maharaja Keshav Prasad Singh of Dumrao. Number 3, at the age of 6, Bismillah Khan moved to Varanasi. At. Number 4, Ali Baksh took him under his tutelage. Under. Number 5, Bismillah Khan practiced for hours together. For. Now, learners, do the exercise by filling in the blanks with the correct prepositions given in the brackets. You have to do this exercise on your own. Next grammar topic is phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are very common in spoken and written English. To be able to speak and write well, you must understand them properly. Phrasal verbs consist of a verb and another word or phrase, usually a preposition. Although they consist of 2 or more words, they act as if they are one word. A phrasal verb often has a meaning which is different from the original verb. Examples. Number 1, I ran into my school friend at the party last night. Run plus into is equal to meeting. I ran into my school friend at the party last night. So run plus into is equal to meeting. That is meet. It means meet. Number 2, he ran away from home when he was 12 years old. Run plus away means leave home. Phrasal verbs can be separable. I will set a meeting up for you tomorrow. Or inseparable, I have to look after my ailing grandmother. Learners, do the next exercise on your own. You have to fill in the blanks with the correct word from the ones given in the brackets. In exercise 2, you have to identify and underline phrasal verbs. Next comes in this lesson is biographical sketch. Learners, gather information about yourself. If you are writing a biographical sketch of yourself, you may feel that you already know everything there is to say. However, you will need to write down everything you know about yourself before you can begin to make an informative sketch. Here is what to do. Make a list of all the jobs you have ever worked. Highlight the ones that are most important. Make a list of all your achievements, whether they are publications, projects that you have led, or promotions you have earned. Write down the things you are most proud of about your own life. Write down a few key personal details about yourself. Just stating where you live and where you live with. Just stating where you live and who you live with may be sufficient depending on the required word length. Read through old cover letters to see the different aspects of yourself that you have emphasized in the past. Gather information about the historical figure. Gathering information about a historical figure will be harder than finding information about yourself. But if you are writing about someone you care about, it should be a fun and educational process. Learners, here are some ways to get as much information about the historical figure as possible. Research the person on credible sources online. If the person is famous enough, he or she may even have a website. If you are in school and know a professor who is an expert on the historical figure, ask if your professor has time to sit down and answer a few questions about the person. Go to your local library to read a variety of biographies about the person. Search through a variety of reliable sources. Repeat. Search through a variety of reliable sources to get a more well-rounded view of a subject. If you learn specific information, make certain it can be confirmed from other sources. Choose one interesting experience that illustrates the main points that you want to make about that person's life. Gather details about that incident. Write a timeline of the person's life that will show that you know when and where the person was born, where he lived, and what he did throughout the course of his life, and where, when, and how he died. Make a list of that person's jobs, pursuits, and accomplishments. You show and you should know this person inside and out before you begin writing your sketch. Reflect on your own life. Once you have gathered enough information about yourself and have a strong sense of your life and achievements, it's time to take a step back to think about which of your achievements and characteristics you want to emphasize to a potential employer and which aspects are not as crucial to your goals. Here is what to do. Think of which of your characteristics you want to emphasize. If you want to show that you are an original thinker, highlight the unique projects or ideas that you came up with. If you want to demonstrate that you are great at working with others, emphasize your successful teamwork. Think of the aspects of your life that you do not need to include. A biographical sketch can be a page or shorter, or so you won't be able to include every single thing you have done, or you will run out of room. Cross out things you have done that may not be relevant to the job. Think of a perfect anecdote that shows the qualities you want to highlight. You can brainstorm a few anecdotes and choose the best one. Remember that the anecdote will only work in longer biographical sketches. Think of the achievements and work experience you want to emphasize. you won't be able to include everything, so pick the most relevant work experience and the most impressive achievements to use. Reflect on the life of the historical figure. Once you have done your research and have gathered enough information about the historical figure, you should sit back to think about what it means, to see if you notice any trends and to have a better sense of what you want to convey about the person. Ask yourself about how the historical figure has shaped by his time period and environment. Ask yourself how the historical figure impacted the lives of the people around him, the general public and future generations. Figure out which of the figure's achievements, work and life experience you may want to emphasize. Unlike a biographical sketch for work, you may not be interested in the person's work experience, but in her relationships, for example. Figure out which quality of the person you'd like to emphasize. Are you interested in the person's work ethics, sense of humor, or ambition? Whatever quality you want to focus on, make sure the facts you present support it. Find the perfect anecdote to demonstrate the qualities of the person you'd like the most to show. Start with an anecdote. If you have room for an anecdote, it should go in the beginning of your sketch so you can hook your readers and paint an instant portrait of the person you are writing about. Remember, learners, that you should always write in the third person, even if you are writing about yourself. The anecdote can be just one paragraph or even just a few sentences long. But it should convey a sense of the person's character and what makes him or her special. Clarify who the person is. If you are writing about yourself, that's easy. If you're writing a biographical sketch, it can be trickier. If you want to start with the person as a child, such as telling an anecdote about the childhood of Abraham Lincoln, you can surprise your reader by explaining whom you are talking about at the end of the anecdote. Convey a sense of the person's character. If you want to show how honest or trustworthy the person is, make sure to tell the perfect story to illustrate these qualities. Show what makes this person unique. Use specific details and engaging language to demonstrate what makes the person you are writing about different from everyone else. Provide relevant information in the body. Once you have hooked your reader, you need to provide the right concrete details to give a sense not only of the person's character but also of the arc of his life and his achievements and passions. Learners, there are some points to consider. Learners, be honest. Don't embellish for the sake of impressing your reader. Your goal should be to tell things as they really are. Be creative. Don't tell a story your readers have already heard before. Find a new way to provide the same information or a way to provide information your readers may not be used to hearing. If you are writing a biographical sketch of yourself, provide the relevant information about the positions you have held, the type of work you did, and the things you accomplished and hope to achieve. You can limit personal information in this sketch, since your employers will be focused on your work experience. If you are writing a sketch of a historical figure or some other person, explain where he was born and where he died, what his passions were, what he achieved, and how he shaped society. You can also mention any relevant personal information about the figure. Remember to describe all the things the person did in chronological order so your readers are oriented. Learners, finish strong. If you have hooked your readers and provided sufficient information about the person you are writing about, you should finish with clarity and confidence. You can wrap up your ideas in just a sentence or two. Here is how to do it. If you are writing a sketch about yourself, you can end with personal information. Simply state where you live, what you do, and whom you live with. If you are writing about historical figure, leave your readers to think about the impact that this person has had on society. Revise the work. Once you have written the biographical sketch, you need to revise it to make sure that it is the appropriate length, that it meets your objectives, and that it flows smoothly. Spending time on revising the sketch can help you convey your message and emphasize the right qualities of yourself or a historical figure. Here is what you can do. Read your work over twice. The first time, don't mark it up, but make mental notes of any places that sound funny. The second time, read it with a pen and mark any places that should be expanded or eliminated, or phrases that just don't sound right. Work to improve those places. Read your work aloud. This can help you see that it flows smoothly and that your readers will have a strong sense of the person you are writing about. Make sure the sketch meets your objectives. Remind yourself of the qualities or personal experience that you wanted to emphasize about the person you were writing about. Does the sketch focus on these qualities, or does it leave the reader with a different impression of the person? Make sure it meets the appropriate length. You may feel that every sentence is absolutely crucial, but your readers or potential employers won't be impressed if you try their patience by going over the word limit. Set this sketch aside for a few days. When you return to it, you will feel less attached to every word and will be able to see what works and what doesn't. Learners, edit the work. Once you feel that you have improved your biographical sketch and that it won't require any more major changes, it will be the time to improve the sketch on a sentence level. Editing will require you to pick the sketch apart sentence by sentence to improve your writing for clarity, precision, and conciseness. Learners, here is what to do. Trim down long and awkward sentences for a better flow. Replace boring words with more descriptive ones. Find a more interesting way to say good or nice. Delete anything that is not interesting or off topic. Address all grammatical and punctuation errors. Learners, try also to find or ask for an outside opinion. Once you feel confident about your revision and edits of your biographical sketch, you should seek an outside opinion before you share it with the world. If you want to try to publish your biographical sketch of a historical person, you should know it if it sounds as convincing as you think it does. If you want to take your personal biographical sketch to the job market, you should know if it makes you look like a promising candidate. Here are some people to ask for help. Ask a trusted friend who is a careful reader if the sketch is lively, informative, and has a smooth flow. Ask an expert in the field. If you're writing a biographical sketch, ask a historian or professor. And if you're writing a personal sketch, send it to a person who works in your field, but not a person who may consider you as an employee. Ask a person who has written many biographical sketches and knows what makes them work. Points to be kept in mind while writing a bio sketch. It should begin with a clear and engaging opening paragraph. Number 2, use facts from reliable sources. Number 3, write clearly with appropriate and proper use of grammar. Number 4, put in quotes wherever possible. Number 5, add surprising tidbits to make the sketch interesting. For example, why Ustad Bismillah Khan's name was changed. His favorite mode of transport was cycle rickshaw. Learners, let's come to the next section, writing a news report. Newspapers carry reports of all kinds of events, visits by heads of state, robberies, accidents, scams, matches, exhibitions. Have you ever wondered how newspaper reports are prepared? A newspaper report is an account of an important or interesting event. It usually answers questions like what happened, how did it happen, when did it happen, where did it take place, who all were involved, what was the impact of the event. How to write a good report, learners? Over here, a report can be divided into sections: the headline, a subheadline, opening paragraph, details followed by a conclusion or closing remark. Number 2, the headline in a newspaper report is very important. It grabs the interest of the readers and makes them want to read more. It summarizes in one phrase the central theme of the report. Headlines need not be complete sentences. The language of headlines does not appear grammatically correct. For example, Definite and indefinite articles and conjunctions are often missed out. Punctuation marks are not used, and short forms are always used in order to save space and to say a lot in just a few words. Headlines are often written in the simple present tense. Number 3, if the article is big, then a short headline is followed by a sub-headline. Now, news reports. News reports comprise, number 1, headline, which catches your attention, sums up the story. Number 2, byline, writer's name, writer's speciality, for example, sports, food, crime, current events, etc. Number 3, placeline, where the story begins. Number 4, lead. The opening section gives most important information, should answer most of the 5 W's, that is what, who, why, when and where. Number 5, body, supplies detail. Most important details come first. Simple true statements. Number 6, quotation, what someone actually said. It adds accuracy, adds live at the scene feeling. Learners, let's come to the next section called Enhance Your Vocabulary. Learners, number 1, read, read and read in order to enhance your vocabulary. The more you read, especially novels and literary works, but also magazines and newspapers, the more you'll be exposed to. As you read and uncover new words, use a combination of attempting to derive meaning from the context of sentences as well as from looking up the definition in a dictionary. Number 2, keep a dictionary and thesaurus handy. Use whatever versions you prefer in print, software or online. When you uncover a new word, look it up in the dictionary to get both its pronunciation and its meaning, or many meanings. Next, go to thesaurus and find similar words and phrases and their opposites, and learn the nuances among the words. Number 3, use a journal. It is a good idea. Repeat. Number 3, use a journal. It's a good idea to keep a running list of the new words you discover so that you can refer back to the list and slowly build them into your everyday vocabulary. Plus, keeping a journal of all your new words can provide positive reinforcement for learning even more new words, especially when you see how many words you have already learned. Number 4, learn a word a day. Learners, using a word a day calendar or website or developing your own list of words to learn is a great technique many people use to learn new words. This approach may be too rigid for someone. So even if you do use this method, don't feel you must learn a new word every day. Number 5, go back to your roots. One of the most powerful tools for learning new words and for deciphering the meaning of other new words is studying Latin and Greek roots. Latin and Greek elements are a significant part of the English language and a great tool for learning new words. Repeat. Latin and Greek elements are a significant part of the English language and a great tool for learning new words. Number 6, play some games, word games, that challenge you and help you discover new meanings, and new words are a great and fun tool in your quest for expanding your vocabulary. Number 7, engage in conversations. Simply talking with other people, can help you discover new words. As with reading, once you hear a new word, remember to jot it down so that you can study it later and then slowly add the new word to your vocabulary. Final thoughts on improving and expanding your vocabulary. Learners, you hold the key to a better vocabulary. By using these tips, you should be well on the way to discovering and learning new words to expand your vocabulary and strengthen your use of the English language. Finally, remember that you must practice putting your new words into your writing and speaking or risk not retaining them into your brain. Use repetition exercises when you first learn a word and consider other learning techniques such as index cards, recording yourself, reciting your words, association games, etc. Here in the lesson, a few words and set of words need your attention. Example, number 1, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly means without doubt. Number 2, maestro. Maestro means a great musician, especially of classical music. Civilian. Civilian means relating to a person not belonging to the armed forces, army, navy, air force or police. Recipient. Recipient means one who receives or gets. Next, ancestors. Ancestors mean those from whom one's father or mother has descended or come. Uttered. Uttered means spoke. Attained. Attained means reached or accomplished. Tutelage. That means guidance. Religiously means with enthusiasm. Inspire. Inspire means to cause fine thoughts and feelings to grow in the mind. Improvise. Improvise means create and or perform without preparation. Raga means a series of 5 or more musical notes upon which a melody is made. Indian classical music is always set in a rag. Single-handedly. Single-handedly means without help from anyone else. Mainstream. Mainstream means belonging to current trend. Limelight. Limelight means focus of public attention. Accumulated. Accumulated means gathered or acquired material. Possessions. Possessions mean property or belongings. Era. Era means long and distinct period of history. To monopolize. To monopolize means to dominate or to be the only one to be doing something. Perished. Perished means got destroyed or finished. Fan following. Fan following means admirers. Breathed his last means died. So these were some important words and set of words to know. Learners, I hope by now you have understood the lesson well. As I tell you every time, each lesson of secondary level English needs your undivided attention, as it is not a story or doesn't have an issue raised. It has its inbuilt English language skills which are required on any learner's part to understand those fully before writing the exam. Also, do read your secondary level English book before sitting for your exam. Best of luck and thanks.
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो, धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय